We took our new Roomba S9 Plus and the previous model, the Roomba i7 Plus, and put them both through a series of tests to see which one was the best and why. And the results were pretty interesting, mainly because of how different these models actually are. So links in the description for current prices, and let's get started. I did do an in-depth review of just the S9 Plus, which I'll link in the description, where I talk more about some of the features, but in general, just looking at them both, you can tell that there was a major redesign. The new D shape on the S9 Plus was to give it better edge and corner cleaning performance, and we did find that it had excellent corner cleaning ability, especially when compared to the i7 Plus. The S9 wasn't perfect, but it was awfully close. iRobot made a fundamental change to their side brushes, which all I can say is it's about time. In my opinion, the super fast-spinning, stiff side brushes on previous Roomba models just caused a major mess most of the time, including with the i7 Plus. So not only is the new brush softer, the speed that it spins is also toned down with the S9 Plus, which makes for a much cleaner pickup, especially on hard floors. iRobot also took the dual brush roll and moved it to the front of the unit and made it wider by 30%. This obviously gives it a wider cleaning path, but it also seems to affect its ability to avoid hair tangles and its carpet deep cleaning ability, which we'll talk about later. The S9 is Roomba's most powerful robot vacuum yet, and I think it might be the most powerful robot vacuum on the market right now. We measured its airflow with an anemometer at 22 CFM on high power and 8 CFM on low power, beating the previous champion, the Neato D7, by almost 10%. The i7 was made to be fully automatic, so you can't choose a power setting. It adjusts itself. But when it's on its carpet boost mode, its equivalent of high power, it can adjust to 17 CFM, the same as the Roomba 980. But on hard floors, it seems really low. I don't want to give the numbers we measured since it's so low, just in case it was an error, but it seems to have less power on hard floors than the Roomba 600 series, which we measured at only 7 CFM. You can see that the S9 blows away the i7 on the crevice pickup test, in which the S9 picked up all the debris from the 1/8 inch crevice and even some from the 1/4 inch, but the i7 didn't get any from either. We also showed the difference with a sand test on single pass mode, and sand is really hard for any type of vacuum to pick up on hard floors. But here we can see that the S9 did pretty good. There was a little left in various places, but when compared to the i7, which left quite a bit of sand on the floor, the S9 looks like a beast. But one of the most practical uses for all that power on the S9 is carpet deep cleaning. Here we measure out exactly 100 grams of sand and embed it into medium pile carpet, run the robots for 5 minutes, and weigh the bins. The highest score I've seen before was actually the i7 Plus with its carpet boost mode engaged. Also, the Neato BotVac line got the same score, which was 79%. But the S9 Plus, which we tested twice, got 93% and 96%, which in my opinion is something to really be celebrated. Moving on to navigation. Both the i7 Plus and the S9 Plus are smart navigation robots that use cameras to map out your home and clean in nice rows while avoiding obstacles. And while both seem to have excellent coverage, as you would expect from a smart vacuum in this price range, the S9 Plus is much more efficient with its time. It does kind of a rough draft pass and then goes directly to the places it missed and follows it all up with an edge cleaning pass. The i7 does the same basic thing, but it also seems to waste a lot of time on weird things. For example, it circled around this one chair leg 11 times in one test. In fact, I had to turn off the automatic pass button and only choose one pass with the i7, or it would almost use its entire battery life on this one room. S9 is also better at climbing thresholds. It could pretty regularly climb our 3/4 inch board, where the i7 is only able to do it if it hits it just right, which it did not do in this particular test. One test that really surprised me was the hair wrap test, where we take 1 gram of 7-inch hair and spread it over hard floor. We tested the S9 twice with this, and each time it did so much better than I typically see with other robot vacuum. The i7 pretty much does the reverse. For example, in the latest test, only 25% of the hair made it to the dustbin on the i7. That means 75% was caught in the brush roll. Compare that to the S9 Plus, where 95% of the hair made it to the dustbin. So yeah, that's impressive. In terms of battery life, they both have recharge and resume, where they will return to the base to recharge and then resume where they left off. So battery life isn't as big of a deal as it used to be. But the i7 on its one power setting gets about 75 minutes, and the S9 can get a range between 120 and 50 minutes depending on how you choose to adjust the power output. So if nothing else, the S9 is better for giving you options. The one area where I think the S9 is not as good as the i7 is with large debris pickup. The S9 made some serious racket when picking up the larger piles of debris in the test, which is not something I'm used to. It did pick up all the large debris, but it took a couple passes in a few cases to do so. I'm not sure if the brushes are lower to the ground on the S9 or what, but if so, it might explain why it's so good at deep cleaning carpets, which would be a good trade-off in my opinion. So the best thing about either of these robots might be that it has a clean base. This is the self-emptying bin system, which while has been attempted before, iRobot is the first to perfect the system. As I've said before, I think this is close to what we were all envisioning with a robot cleaning system. It's not that the old system of emptying bins after each use was such a chore, but it didn't really feel like you had a robot doing your work for you. But the clean base really makes that dream seem possible, and it functions well. I've never yet had a problem with it finding the base. The suction motor in the clean base is really powerful and does suck out all the dirt and hair and whatnot. And the bags really do seem to hold about 30 bins of debris, but that really depends on what kind of debris you're picking up too. With the i7, the clean base was the reason to get the i7 Plus, but as we've seen, the robot itself wasn't that great. But with the S9 Plus, they have paired a trend-setting, top-of-the-line robot to their new clean base technology. And though this thing costs a ton of money, iRobot is finally delivering some real value for what they're charging, in my opinion. Be sure to subscribe to Vacuum Wars. We have a really busy month, and I'm sure we'll get to the new M6 floor cleaning bot, which works in tandem with the S9 later on. Thanks for watching.